Welcome to Lake Oconee Tatler. And as we all know, the upcoming elections is a topic that is front and center these days. It's an incredibly important time for our community and our country. Today, I have the privilege of sitting down and talking to someone who plays a key role in ensuring that the election process runs smoothly, fairly, and securely. The chairman of the Board of Elections and Voters Registration for Greene County, someone that I know really well, Mr. Ted Baker. Ted, thanks for being here today. Give us an update on the upcoming elections, please.
Thanks so much for having me, Riezl. I think transmitting these dates, I'm sure everybody around is aware we have a presidential election coming. While our election day is November 5th, fortunately in Georgia, October 15 starts our early voting in Georgia. It goes from October 15th through November 1st. The only 2 days that are not early voting days are Sundays during that time period. So we've got over 2 weeks of early voting. Is an important date to remember. There's some other important dates that we can talk about in here, but I want to make sure everybody's aware that October 15 date, you can early vote in Georgia. So,
and where can they cast their votes?
Thank you for asking that too. Specifically for Lake Oconee, we're made up of a 3-county area. We've got Greene County, Morgan County, and Putnam County. Of course, all 3 of those counties are running the same dates. A little bit different on the hours. Greene County, so the same dates, October 15 through the 1st. But Greene County is 9 to 5 on those dates. Putnam is actually 8 a.m. till 5. I believe Morgan also is 8 a.m. to 5. Greene County is at Weldon Smith Drive, where you get your driver's license. That's the location for early voting in Greensboro. And that's the same address as the Board of Elections and Registration office. So staff is also there if you have questions. In addition, in Putnam County, it is 117 Putnam Drive, which is out on the bypass. So if you're a Putnam County resident and registered in Putnam County to early vote, you'll go to the 117 Putnam Drive address. In Morgan County, it's 237 North 2nd Street in Madison. So that's the 3 counties of Lake Oconee. So I kind of focused on those. Those 3 offices are having early voting beginning October 15. So I encourage everybody, if at all possible, to advance in-person voting is a great way to vote. There's less lines, there's less hassle, and it's very easy to cast your ballot early.
Thank you for that. Now, how can voters ensure that they have the proper identification and documentation for voting?
Yes, state-issued picture ID is what we require. So typically a driver's license is
Right.
what people bring. We also have at all of the county offices, whether it's Greene, Morgan, or Putnam, we also have the ability to take your picture and issue you a voter identification. If you do not have a driver's license for some reason, you can go to one of the county elections offices and they can issue a voter ID, which is a picture ID that enables you to vote. They'll check your registration. They'll ask you for another form of identification to verify who you are, or another type of way to verify who you are, but they can issue you an ID there. If you go early to vote and don't have one in each of those offices, they can issue a voter ID.
An important question: how is the board handling the increase in absentee or mail-in voting in this election cycle?
Yes, so you'll recall in 2020, almost, I don't know what the percentage was, it was a very high percentage of votes cast were cast absentee ballot, by absentee ballot, by mail. And that was a lot of people got used to casting their ballot in that fashion as opposed to showing up in person advance in person or in person on election day. So a lot of people will cast their ballot absentee, and if they do, we have, since COVID, we have ramped up that ability to handle that volume of ballots. So we're well equipped. We will not reach our COVID numbers. So we managed through COVID, and the way we did that was, fortunately, from the Secretary of State, they allow us time to the Saturday before the election is when we start to process those absentee ballots. So we don't count those ballots, we don't tabulate those ballots, but we do start early. Secretary of State's office allows us to start early to process those ballots, which is the way we are able to do it timely.
And speaking of ballots, what other key issues will voters see on the ballots aside from the presidential election?
Well, this brings up a great, I did print off our ballot because we're in the same household, so
Right.
we're going to have the same ballot, which is very helpful. So anybody can go to the My Voter page, which is MVP, so My Voter page. It's the acronym MVP.SOS for Secretary of State .ga.gov. It's a tremendous resource for voters to go and check their registration, also to check their sample ballot. So I encourage them to go to that website. Again, it's mvp.sos.ga.gov. You enter in your particular information and you're able to print out your sample ballot.
So for those voters who recently moved or made changes, what should they know about their registration?
Well, that's a really good one. We do have a lot of people that move into our area, Riezl, so I encourage them to go to their local office. If they live in Morgan, as I said, there's an office there in Madison, then the one in Putnam, and of course ours here in Greene is at C. Weldon Smith Drive. The reason they need to go to those offices, and they can do this online as well, but registering to vote is an important thing. Unfortunately, the deadline to register for this election was October the 7th, so that date has passed. But the deadline, in case there are any runoffs, that deadline for the runoffs is November 1st. So if they go now to their county election office, they can register for in case we have any runoffs.
Thank you. How will the board handle situations when voters show up at the wrong polling place on election day?
This happens, unfortunately. This happens a lot. And the reason this happens primarily is because people on election day, for some reason, still think it's early voting. And so, for instance, they may be voting and supposed to go to Siloam or Union Point or Lakeside Church, but instead they go to C. Weldon Smith Drive. The law states, as long as that voter has enough time to get to their appropriate polling location, the staff should redirect them to their appropriate polling location. So that's what we would do.
Well, thank you very much. Is there anything else that you would like to share to the public about the upcoming election?
There is. I just want to say your right to vote is something that we should not take for granted. It is an important, and it is a very important right that we have in our country, and to exercise that. So please go and take time to vote. Also, we all of these county election offices, I'll tell you, they're very responsive. We have over 40 staff members, poll workers that are trained up and ready to assist you. And so again, those dates of early voting, October 15th through November 1st, the only exception to that are the Sundays. So we have that incorporates 2 Saturdays where you can also early vote in person. Then on election day is November 5th from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. The mvp.sos.ga.gov is a place to not only go and get your sample ballot, you also can go there and get your precinct card. Your precinct card is very important because it tells you your state house, your U.S. Congress, and your local school board district and your local county commission. It also gives you your county polling place. So the address of where you're supposed to go and vote is on your precinct card, and you can find that at the MVP website. So it's a powerful tool that our state has enacted, and I'm grateful that you're circulating this message to get people out to the polls.
Absolutely. It's an important information, important time for our country and our community. And go out there and vote. October 15th, early voting.